Welcome to the Explainer, everyone. Look, if you're a focused learner, constantly looking to level up your workflow, you've almost certainly brought AI into the mix. I mean, we all have, right? But let's be totally honest. The second you hit copy and paste on an AI prompt, there's always that little voice in the back of your head asking, wait, am I crossing the line here? Well, today, we're going to completely demystify that feeling. We are diving into the art of ethical AI use, so you can harness this unbelievable tech for smart assistance without ever having to sweat over plagiarism risks. It's your work and your responsibility, so let's get into it. Because this, right here, this is the core anxiety we all face. You're staring at a blank screen, you ask a chatbot for just a tiny bit of inspiration, and boom, suddenly you've got 3 absolutely perfect paragraphs staring back at you. But can you actually use them? Is using AI always plagiarism? Well, the short answer is no. But the long answer, that's where careers and academic records are literally saved or ruined. And today, we're going to solve this exact problem by setting up some incredibly clear boundaries. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the roadmap for our explainer today. First, we'll define the new plagiarism problem. Second, we'll look at safe versus risky AI use. Third, we'll walk through a concrete 5-step safe workflow. Fourth, what evaluators actually expect from you. And finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate integrity test. We've got a concrete solution for you today, so let's get started. Section 1. The new plagiarism problem, defining the boundaries of AI assistance. All right, before we can use AI safely, we have to precisely define the boundaries. What actually constitutes AI-driven plagiarism? Well, it generally pops up in 3 specific ways. The first one is pretty obvious, submitting unmodified AI text as your own, just straight up copy-pasting. The second is using AI outputs without verifying or citing them when it's required. And the third, and honestly, this is the one that catches so many people off guard, is paraphrasing AI content that is itself derived from uncited sources. Think about it. If the AI steals a quote and you just swap out a few adjectives, you're still plagiarizing. You really have to remember that even if the machine literally typed the words, you are the one completely accountable for them. Which brings us perfectly to the core principle of our entire explainer. AI is a tool, not an author. It's such a simple piece of logic, but man, is it powerful. You should be using AI for support, not for substitution. It's kind of like using a calculator for math. It helps you find the answer, but it doesn't take the test for you. You are responsible for absolutely every single word you submit, regardless of where that initial draft came from. So let's just take a quick second to bust some dangerous myths. People constantly assume that AI text is naturally plagiarism-free, but it really isn't. Then there's the idea that simply paraphrasing what the AI spit out magically makes you safe. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Or worse, banking on the hope that detection tools just won't catch it. The absolute truth you need to internalize here is that plagiarism is about the ownership of ideas, not just text similarity. If you're stealing a core concept that the AI sourced from someone else, you are plagiarizing, even if you completely scrambled the sentence structure to make it look fresh. Section 2. Safe versus risky AI use. Understanding the clear distinction. Now that we've got a handle on the problem, let's draw a super clear line between helpful assistance and, well, professional danger. Now, what's really interesting to note is how perfectly binary these behaviors are. On the safe side, we're talking about using AI to brainstorm ideas, map out your outlines, clean up your grammar, or even just having it explain a complex concept to you like you're 5. That's fantastic use of the tool. But look over at the risky side, copy-pasting AI text directly, rewriting sections without actually understanding the underlying material, or submitting unverifiable claims. One side builds a solid foundation. The other side, yeah, that's just building a trap for yourself. If you want a golden rule of thumb to keep yourself safe, it's this vital insight. If you cannot explain it, you should not submit it. Honestly, it is truly that simple. Imagine the AI generates this beautifully complex, articulate sentence about a scientific concept or a historical event. If you couldn't confidently sit down and explain that exact concept to a colleague over a cup of coffee, you absolutely cannot pass it off as your own work. Actually, scratch that. It's more like, if you can't teach it, you don't know it. And believe me, evaluators know exactly what to look for when they suspect AI over-reliance. These are the major red flags that will essentially paint a giant target on your work. They're scanning for generic, overly polished paragraphs that sound great but lack any real depth. A glaring lack of citations where there normally should be tons of them. A writing style that just wildly fluctuates from paragraph to paragraph. And the absolute biggest red flag, bold, sweeping claims presented without a single shred of evidence. These just scream to anyone reading your work that you let the machine do the heavy lifting. Section 3.
the 5-step safe workflow, your blueprint for ethical AI write-in. Okay, this is how we take the anxiety out of the process completely. Here is your high-level overview. These 5 steps are a blueprint designed to keep you perfectly safe. Step 1, define your input clearly so the AI knows its exact constraints. Step 2, use AI strictly for structure, never final content. Step 3, verify every single claim it makes. Step 4 is the critical act of rewriting in your own voice. And step 5, cite properly. If you follow this path, you're protecting your integrity at every single stage of the game. Let's zoom in a little closer on the most critical parts of this workflow.
So, the crucial point is right here in step 2. Treat AI output as a draft scaffold, not final content. You really should only be using AI to generate outlines, headings, research directions, and maybe quick summaries. Think of the AI like a blank whiteboard where you're just mapping out the architecture of your paper or report. You are building the skeleton, right? But you still have to be the one to actually put the meat on the bones. And that brings us to the absolute mandate of step 3, verify every claim. We all know by now that AI can and will hallucinate. It will confidently invent facts, historical dates, and literally entirely fake academic papers authored by scientists who do not even exist. Because of that, verification isn't just a nice to have, it is mandatory. You have to cross-check the AI's claims with actual peer-reviewed papers. Get into trusted databases like Scopus, Web of Science, or PubMed. Basically never, ever take the machine's word for it.
Once you've done the hard work of verifying the facts, you hit step 4, which requires rewriting the material in your own voice. The ultimate test here is this. Can you explain the paragraph you just wrote without looking at the screen? If you can't, well, you need to rewrite it again. Please don't fall into the trap of just lightly editing the AI's output by tweaking a few adjectives here and there. You have to fully internalize the information and communicate it through your own unique perspective.
Section 4. What evaluators actually expect, institutional standards and best practices.
Look, whether you're submitting to a university professor or a strict academic journal, here is exactly what they're actively looking for. First off, transparency. If AI helped you significantly, follow your institution's policy and just disclose it. Be upfront. Second, they expect original thinking and interpretation. Third, proper citation practices. You should always be citing the original, verifiable sources, not the AI itself. And finally, they expect alignment with standards from organizations like COPE, that's the Committee on Publication Ethics, just to ensure your work meets the absolute highest professional thresholds.
When we zoom out and bring all these best practices together into one cohesive framework, it all connects seamlessly. Safe use requires maintaining a really clear audit trail of your sources. It means combining that AI generation with a highly critical reading of the actual literature. The entire goal here is to use AI to expand your ideas, not replace your writing, ensuring your authentic voice remains totally dominant throughout the entire piece.
Section 5. The ultimate integrity test, the final takeaway for your workflow. Let's move to our final section and see how this all builds up, because I really want you to listen to this carefully. It sets the absolute highest standard of accountability. If AI disappears today, you should still be able to defend every sentence in your work. Think about that for a second. If the servers completely crash, if the internet goes down, and you are called into a room to defend your thesis, your methodology, or your conclusions, you must own that knowledge.
Let's summarize this entire explainer with a really simple equation. Safe use equals thinking plus verifying plus rewriting. The reality of the situation is that AI won't cause plagiarism. Your misuse of AI will, but by relying on your own cognitive effort, checking those facts meticulously, and using your own voice, you neutralize the risk entirely. And honestly, you just elevate your work to a whole new level. So I'll leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Take a look at the last document you worked on. Does your current AI workflow pass the disappearance test? If the AI literally vanished right now, are you the true author of those ideas? Audit your own process today. Implement the 5 steps we just covered and empower yourself to do highly original, incredible work. Keep learning, keep verifying, and I will see you in the next explainer.